So this is after party number one. This week's discussion was on conditioning.
Conditioning. What did you get from it, coach?
Um, what I got, what I took away from the conversation was there's intentional and unintentional conditioning. We're always being conditioned, no matter if we realize it or not, and just how aware of it we are.
Yeah.
And there's some basic principles to success that conditioning plays a large role in. And once we grasp an understanding for that and can harness the energy of actions and moving forward, then the sky's the limit. We can achieve whatever we want.
Right. And it's so true. And it's so easy to as well think that if you got a new perspective or you take a new action, then suddenly it's done. Oh, that's cool. Wow, I've had a big breakthrough today. I did this new thing. Now everything's gonna be like that forevermore. That's easy to fall into as well as a trap. Just to come back to the fact that it needs to be conditioned over and over and over and over and over again until it sticks, until it is part of you. And how long that takes to build that kind of groove that you won't slip out of is different depending on what it is and who it is, when it is, what it is.
Right. Yeah. Well, part of the conditioning for me, to roll off of that, was including other people in that. Like, I know what I want. There's other people around me that can help get me to where I want. If somewhere along the way I'm not getting the results that I thought I would get with the activities I'm doing, uh, the conditioning comes in for me to just bring other people with me still. Like, maybe before I had a tendency to just either beat myself up or unilaterally take new action. And now I recognize the power of bringing other people in to gain new perspective. And that's conditioning in itself right there. I condition myself to be open to new perspectives.
Yeah, so that's why it's so important that we 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 get committed about where we want to go in the first place, because it's not like you're taking a blank sheet of paper. It's not a blank canvas to work with. We're talking about people that are already running thousands of patterns and doing lots of things. They already have so much identity and beliefs wrapped up into who they are. So it's like a fast flowing river. And we're saying, like, okay, we want to change direction of this fast flowing river. We're not saying, here's a cup of water where you can pour it in whatever direction we want. It's already rolling. It's already going. So those things are already playing over and over and over and over and over and over. And so in order to start to think about changing the direction or adding in a new direction, then we have to interrupt where we are first of all. And that can be just like shaking someone. It's that initial like leverage.
That and I think a lot of people arrive at the need to take that action when it's so painful, right? When it like a lot of people wait until there's a tragedy in their life, or like they have a near-death experience or something really terrible. So I think the life hack is like, well, don't wait for that to happen. Like, check in with yourself right now, and beat that to the punch. What is it that you want, and go after it, because right now you're settling.
And it scared the life out of me, Josh, when I first started on this journey and felt that for the first time, like anything's possible. It scared me because I'm like, well, this is a new feeling. What happens if I lose it? What happens if I don't see that I've lost it? That's the part. That's the awareness. That's the scary part. And I think that's why it's so important what we do, because it's the law of familiarity. And like if someone drives up and say, hey, Josh, like, here's a Ferrari, it's yours. You can drive this around forever. There's nothing. It's yours. This is your new normal car. After a while, that will become just the same thing. Like, it might impress you to start with. I don't know, it might not, but it might impress you to start with. It might be cool. But after a while, it's a car that you will become familiar with that to a point where you discount it or disregard it. It can't be any other way, right? And there's ways to be aware of it through gratitude, contrast, context, other people shining lights on you or giving you mirrors to look at.
Yes, go back to so when you first got in touch with that feeling, like anything's possible, you didn't want to lose it. How has your approach or your thinking or your outlook on that evolved since then? Like, did that come to fruition? Like, you got excited? Have you lost it, or is there periods of time where you lose it, or how do you keep it?
My baseline is fundamentally different, but there's always, as much as I've grown, there's infinite more ways to do that. So I think there's a balance to be had as well, because if you feel like there's like the world's just been opened, Pandora's box is open, it's amazing to know that there's unlimited possibilities, but it's also can be too much, because it's like I don't know what to do. I need to do it all at once. I've got so much urgency. Let's just do it all at once right now. And you can't do anything. You can't do everything all at once. And so it can also become just you're constantly being pulled into like there's so much. It's the opposite of the pain. Like there's so much pleasure to be had here. I just don't know what to do first. Like I can see all these possibilities. I just want to do it all at once, and you can't. So there's a balance to be had there as well.
Yeah, it's the long-term thinking versus short-term action.
Yes. Which long-term outcome do I want? Because I can have anything. That's the new part, right? Anything's possible. So what do I want? and so I think for me, so mind scan, do a thinker. Doer says that's why mine was +10. Unlimited options. I'm all about it. Now it's a bit more focused into the structure of now it I know there's unlimited options, like create the structure so I can actually work in in falling in love with the journey.
Mm.
The it's it's a weird thing because people think, well, the alternative is I'll I'll lose what I have now. But that only works if everything is exactly the way you want it. And then even if that is true, if everything is exactly as you want it, what's going to happen? You're going to get bored. So you're going to want to change something at some point. So why not just be continuously intentional about going in a new place that you want to go? Because the restart is hard. It's harder than it needs to be. Start once and keep going.
Yeah, you said something that struck a chord with me because I think the mind is so powerful, and there's such powerful power in positive thinking that no matter what your situation is, you can convince yourself that it's good, or you can convince yourself that you're comfortable, and that's the danger of it, is because you're in that state, and you convince yourself that it's okay, that there's not a better one out there, but there's always a better state. There's always a new level to get to. There's always a place that you can view from the perch and look down upon your previous state and be like, yeah, like I thought that was good, but this is better.
Back to awareness again.
It always is. Awareness is
It
it's
always
the
is.
biggest key that there is, because until you're aware, then you can do nothing about it. You don't have the power, you don't have the control, you don't have the wherewithal or the vision or the insight into what needs to happen or what needs to change.
Yeah. Take us home, coach.
I like where we got to, because it was a different level of understanding about fulfillment, because that's what this is all about, right? What we do and the conversations that we have is to give people what they want. And sure, that could be monetary, that could be wealth, that could be, love, health, all these different things. But for what? Like, what is it for? What would you, if you can condition yourself to achieve any level of anything, what would it be? And I think, right? I mean, that, and we talked about that, like, whoa, I can do anything. And I think with that is just maybe your answer isn't perfect, or maybe your answer won't be the same as it will be 5 years from today. But to start on the journey and the path is that intentional conditioning. And then you're able to see new perspectives along the way that will make much more sense and have more clarity for you. A, when you get there, and B, knowing that's what you want when you get it.
Yeah. And the only way you find out is when you do it. Anyway.
unless you get lucky.
And
But
even then, you're going to get bored. So you've got to have some intentionality some way along the line.
right.
So there's no choice but to move forward, right? I think that's what's the key. It's like there's always going to be something, so just choose wisely.
Right. Cool. All right, we got some good stuff. I'll see you.
Awesome stuff, Coach.
The after party.